Go. Hello and welcome. Today we've got Michelle Fielding, and today we are going to be discussing Elon Musk, Jack Dorsey, and how all those two lead into the central bank digital currency, and a little bit about Nesara, Jasara. Now, just before we begin, you can subscribe to our Telegram channels and to NICOLASVENIAMIN.com for my free email updates. And if you're watching this for the first time on YouTube, I will leave the link below in the description for the full interview, unless, of course, myself and Michelle can choose our words wisely due to the insane censorship that's happening right now. I just wanted to remind you all that Michelle's channeling has been magnificent lately, because she's told me that Facebook would rebrand, and they've rebranded. And she also said that Joe Biden would be inaugurated when none of us thought that he would be inaugurated, and he was inaugurated. And for 2 years now, she's been speaking about Elon Musk playing a big role into us moving forward and draining the swamp. And, he's a big key into this. And now only recently he's been in the public eye with what's going on with Twitter. Michelle, thank you for joining me. How are you, and what have you been up to?
Wow, what I've been up to, Nick, is I've been seeing you quite a lot recently with our trips to London, and I've been up there a couple of times and we've met a few times, so that was really nice at long last, wasn't it? To meet each other.
It was amazing. Absolutely, it was so amazing to finally have met you and to enjoy the coffees and snacks and desserts in Covent Garden, London. It's been an absolute honor to meet you, Michelle.
Yeah,
So
it was very nice meeting you. So that was a big highlight for me in the last week. And with regards to what we're talking about today, I'm very excited because I saw something a few days ago where they were talking about Elon Musk teaming up with Jack Dorsey. So before I read out the questions and the channeling that I brought down, I just wanted to give some background to Jack Dorsey so that everybody's sort of up to speed with who he is and his sort of relationship with Musk, both now and in the past. So Jack Dorsey, if everybody doesn't know already, was the co-founder with 3 other people of Twitter. And he was the longest serving CEO, Chief Executive Officer. And what I didn't know was that Jack and Elon Musk have been best buddies for quite a long time. And what's happening right now, it seems, is that Elon has been working with Jack in the past to try and fight the Twitter board. Because I understand that a company called, what's their name? A company took over Twitter a few years ago. And when they took over, they tried to oust Jack Dorsey. And so he called upon Elon Musk for some help. And Elon Musk tweeted something really sweet on Twitter, saying something like, you should keep Jack as your CEO because he's got a good heart. So they've been sort of good friends, and he's been sort of on his side. Elon Musk has been on his side. And then the other thing that they have in common, or have worked together on, is that they both love crypto. They talk a lot on social media about digital currency. I just have to say, by the way, I'm not an expert in digital currencies, but this is just information I found out. They are both what's called cryptocurrency evangelists, so they love it. They sing its praises highly. And they both invest heavily in Bitcoin. So, for example, Elon Musk has 432,000 Bitcoin in Tesla, which is valued at $1.7 billion. And Jack Dorsey has 827 Bitcoin, which comes to 317.3 million. And And he uses his Bitcoin for his second company, which some people might not know about, which is called Block. And it was formerly known as Square. And it's a fintech company, which I understand means it's a financial tech company. Because again, this is all new to me. I'm learning as I go. So I understand that Elon has allowed people in the past to use Bitcoin to buy things from Tesla. I assume their cars, they could buy their cars in Bitcoin. But then he stopped that because he realized that because it's mined using fossil fuels, it went against Musk's philosophy on sustainable energy. So he's halted that for now. But he's saying that once they can mine the fuels, the materials for Bitcoin in a more sustainable way, then he'll reintroduce that concept where you can buy things with Bitcoin.
So he stopped the Bitcoin.
So he stopped the Bitcoin only to buy his products, because he was saying that the mining practices weren't using sustainable energy. And as soon as they start doing that again, then he's happy to use Bitcoin again to purchase Teslas. So Jack Dorsey has been known to say that digital currency will soon replace the dollar. And recently there was an executive order signed by Biden, and it was called the Central Bank Digital Dollar or something like that. I do actually have a copy of it here. I'll get that a bit later. And so Jack and Elon are good friends because they both love tech and they both love like innovation, and they're both always working on things like that, and they both love crypto. So some of Musk's previous sort of achievements that we might not know about was that he formed PayPal from a company that was called Axe.com, and Tesla was the first car manufacturer to reach an output of $1 trillion. And obviously he's got SpaceX, which is rocket technology, in the background as well. So both of these guys are innovators. So this Block company that Jack runs, that was formerly known as Square, it works with the American Financial Services, and it's a digital payment system. And obviously Elon Musk now and also Jack obviously was working with Twitter, which connected a lot of people and a lot of people around the world. So the two of them are doing really big projects on their own, but when you look at them and think they're going to combine power, we're looking at two very powerful people. So I understand that Musk defended Jack Dorsey in 2016 when this new company moved in, and I've now found their name. They were called Elliott Management, and they took over a 5% stake in Twitter, and they tried to oust Jack Dorsey at that point. And that was when Elon Musk came to his rescue, and I don't know if he advised him or I don't know exactly how he helped him. But this was when he wrote that tweet which said, "I support Jack as the CEO of Twitter because he has a good heart." And it seems like Jack is now supporting Musk to gang up against the Twitter board, because I heard yesterday that Elon is going to sack the entire board because they don't actually have any shares, and so they're not really doing anything in line with helping their shareholders. It seems to be about power and censorship, not about what's good for the shareholders. So Musk, as we know, has offered to buy Twitter at 100%, which is $43 billion. And I understand that's now been accepted and that's gone through. Is that right, Nick? Is that actually gone through now?
I think it
Because
has.
it's been quite a fast week with, there's been so much coming out about Musk.
It's all over the mainstream media now. Whether
Good,
he's,
good.
what the outcome could be with the free speech, and then we have the left saying, "Oh, if you
Yeah,
want free speech, then it's, it comes with a responsibility," which they act
yeah.
as if it's a privilege, but really we know that it's our God-given rights. But it looks like that's, Elon Musk has now bought Twitter.
Okay. And it looks like he sacked the board, which is quite funny, really. Because if that's not supporting Jack Dorsey, I don't know what is. So it's saying here that the board were kind of trying to stop Elon Musk taking over the company, and that because the board were then really not taking their shareholders into account, their best interests, that they've been neglecting something called their fiduciary duty. So I now understand that the next step is that Elon Musk is going to sue them because of that. So he's buying out the company but suing them at the same time. So apparently the economic interests of the board and the shareholders are not aligned. The board have not been working in their best interests. And apparently only one board member, there was also a board member before they were all sacked, that didn't even have any shares. So they're only there for power. They're not there for their shareholders' interest. So with Jack having left the company last year, when there was that situation where Trump was banned from Twitter and Jack took the brunt of the blame for that, him leaving means that he took his shares and there was no one left in there with almost any shares left. So I wanted to find out, was Jack Dorsey, or is Jack Dorsey, a white hat? Because it's now looking to me, or it was looking to me like the storyline behind Trump coming off of Twitter was actually deliberate so that they could oust, it could look like they were ousting Jack Dorsey because of that. But actually, when I channeled the answers, it was for a different reason. So now I'm going to go into the questions. I hope that background sort of lays the groundwork and helps people to understand where we're coming from. Because I wanted to know, what is the role now of Jack Dorsey? Because we know that Elon Musk is a prominent role now. We know that he's working with the white hats and the military. And I've actually made a video about that, which hopefully will be on today or tomorrow. So I wanted to know, what is the role of Jack Dorsey? What's his involvement with this digital currency going forward? Is he a white hat? Is he going to be reinstated to Twitter? And is he going to be part of the Truth Social movement, like sort of going forward? So these were all the things that were going around in my mind. So I've written down the questions here, and I'm going to read out, what sort of answers came back.
Please do.
So I said, please, can you tell me about Jack Dorsey? Is he a white hat? And they said he is. And I said, is he part of the Truth Social movement? And they said yes. Now, if you haven't heard me talking about Truth Social movement before, I've just done a video about that today, which is just uploading. But the Truth Social movement is bigger than the Truth Social app on its own. The Truth Social movement is all the parts around us now coming together to create a movement of people, and it's going to be called the Truth Social movement. So if you think about it, you've got the Truth Social app at the top, and then you've got all the media and alternative media and the new social media apps all coming in on the outside. And all of these that now represent free speech are all joining together to create what's called the Truth Social movement. And this is what's been channeled to me. And basically what that means is, as more and more people jump onto these new platforms like yours, Nick, or the new Twitter, whatever Elon does with it, or the new MXM app, you know, which Donald Trump Jr. is bringing out. You know, there's lots of different things. We've got Rumble, we've got all these truther channels already running. So as more and more people migrate towards it, you're getting a movement of people, which they've called the Truth Social movement. So the Truth Social app was just kind of the beginning or the pinnacle of, you know, where we were headed. So 2 years ago, I made a video around sort of November time where I talked about Elon Musk. It was called Predictions, Elon Musk, USA, and something else. And in there, I said that Musk would come along and there would be some shuffling around, rebranding of Facebook and other platforms, and that he was going to introduce a new platform which was censorship free. And here we are right now. So sometimes when you hear me saying things, we could be, you know, as far as 2 years out, we're now seeing. But of course, all those things have been going on in the background. So when I'm saying to you about these things, even if we can't see it yet, sometimes it does take 2 years. And now we're seeing the effects of what they've been doing. Mm-hmm. So then I wanted to know, is he working with Trump? And they said he isn't at the moment, but he was working with him. So what they showed me was when he was taken out of Twitter a year ago, that was to go and work with Trump. So even though he was blamed for censoring Trump, that was all part of the story. It was part of the story to free up Dorsey. So I then asked, was Trump's censorship part of the strategy of the White Hats? And they said yes and no. They said the censorship was to bring attention to the Twitter board and the directors, not Dorsey, for the reasons that I've just explained in the follow, you know, when I was giving you the background. They're saying that the board of directors were corrupt and Dorsey needed to step away to join the Truth Social movement. So it was a strategic move where they moved him away from Twitter so that this could happen now, so the board could be dismissed. And in the meantime, it freed up Jack Dorsey to be working in the background on how this platform is going to go forward, this whole Truth Social movement. So they moved him out of the way so that he could work more closely with Trump and Musk behind the scenes during 21 and 22. And I asked them, what was he working on? And they said it was the Truth Social strategy. And I said, who else is working on this platform for truth? And I said, for example, is McAfee working on it? And they said, no, he is working on other projects. He is working with Julian Assange and other whistleblowers. And I recently this week saw Edward Snowden, just a few days ago, talking about what you and I talked about, Nick, all the way back. I think it must have been about October time, maybe September, when we did that video called The Quantum Generation. And I started to explain how in the future we're going to have devolved communications on our internet and our phones, and it's not going to be hackable and it's going to be encrypted. And I actually have never heard anyone else talking about it until this week when I heard Edward Snowden talking about that concept. And I've said in that video that I did back in 2020, the predictions one, I actually mentioned about Edward Snowden in that video. So for people who don't know who Edward Snowden is, he was a whistleblower of the CIA. I don't know how many years ago, but I think it's something like 10 to 15 years ago, and he had to leave the USA, and he's now a citizen of Russia. And ever since this narrative has been going on for the past 2 years, his name has kept coming to me, along with Julian Assange, as one of the people that's been working with Trump behind the scenes. So in the past they've been kind of looked upon badly, and it looks like now their skills of being able to tell the truth and be for the people, they're now being used because they're an asset in that way. They also said to me that there are people that are posted strategically all over the world, and they're waiting to be given their green light with regards to stepping forward. So in terms of like McAfee, we've said McAfee, Julian Assange, we've said Jack Dorsey, there are others, and they're waiting for their green light. So I kind of feel a bit like Elon Musk was given his green light recently, because suddenly he's just stepped forward, and now all this progress is happening very fast. And I think we're going to see a lot more of that. We're going to see people that we didn't suspect, didn't think would happen. We might even have thought they were bad players. And as I said in our last interview, the people that you have thought were bad players might actually be white hats. And it's all part of the strategy. So the next thing I was sort of drawn to look at was this central bank digital currency that everyone's talking about, because we're thinking now maybe that, well, I'm thinking now that not only are Elon and Jack Dorsey working on the social media platform, but if they've got an interest in Bitcoin and digital currency, it would make sense to me that they're probably involved in the central bank digital currency scheme. And so I wanted to know, is the central bank digital currency good or bad? Is it white hat, black hat? What is it? So that's my first question. What is the central bank? First of all, is it a white hat or a black hat operation? So when I say central bank, I mean the central bank digital currency, the CBDC. And they're saying to me, first of all, that the central bank, not to be confused with the Federal Reserve, is now, what it is it's gold-backed currency, but it's digital currency. So the central bank is different to the Federal Reserve. So don't think of them as the same thing. That's the first thing to say. So I said, is the central bank, the CBDC, the central bank of digital currency, is it a Nesara bank? And what do you think they said, Nick? Do you think it's anything to do with Nesara?
Well, it sounds like it, and because it's gold backed, like you
Yeah.
said, and digital.
Yes. This was a big surprise, because just yesterday I saw someone post something about Rishi Sunak in the UK promoting CBDC, which is central bank digital currency, and saying it's now being set up in the UK. And everybody's been worried that that's New World Order. It's not. The CBDC is the Nesara Bank. So again, we're having a twist of storyline. So I said, is it up and running? They said it is. It's up and running. I said, will the high street banks collapse because of it? And they said, only those who have been signed up to the central bank digital currency under the, sorry, I said, will the high street banks collapse? And they said, only those who have not been signed up to the central bank digital currency under the quantum Starlink system. So what they're telling me now is, if you remember in all our videos, they've been saying to me that what we're waiting for is for people to sign in to the system, and they called it Starlink. And what I've been learning is that Starlink, yes, it is an internet in your home called Starlink, but also it's a whole concept of connectivity, both to the internet, to banking, to health, to currency, to everything. So when they talk about signing into Starlink, they're not just talking about getting a hub in your house and having a Starlink internet hub, they're talking about a whole concept which is linking everything together. It's a concept of connectivity. So when I asked, would the high street banks collapse? They're saying only the ones that are not signed in to the central bank digital currency, and those ones will be under the Starlink system. So that's what we've been waiting for. And what we've also been looking in the wrong direction with is we've been thinking that the CBDC is the new world order. It actually seems to be, from what they're telling me, that it's the CBDC is the new good system, the gold-backed system. So there isn't actually two systems at all. So we thought that we were fighting with two systems, this digital currency one, and then this other one over here that we didn't quite know when it was coming, Nesara, Gesara, but they're actually the same thing. They're the same concept. What people have been doing, they've been splitting them apart and thinking they're in competition with each other, and that the CBDC is New World Order, and that Nesara, Jasara is this thing over here, and when's it going to happen? When's it coming? You know, what date? And actually, it's already running. It's already been happening, but we've been looking at it wrong. Does this make sense so far, Nick?
Absolutely.
Yeah? Does it make sense?
I'm just taking questions, which I'm going to leave at the end.
Yeah, your brain is ticking now. So let me just see if I can get some more questions on that. So then I asked, when will the new currencies under Nesara, when will they be available to the masses? They actually said, and this was quite incredible to me, that they are already available as different cryptocurrencies. So let me just read you that question again, because we've been looking at it all wrong. When will the new currencies under Gesara be available to the masses? Their answer, they are already available as different cryptocurrencies, which I understand crypto and digital mean the same thing. So we've been looking in the wrong direction. So then I said, will there be new physical currencies? They said no. So I said, what is a rainbow currency? Because my understanding of rainbow currency is gold, silver, platinum, but I thought there was going to be like a rainbow note. Now, I'm not an expert in all this, so please correct me if I'm wrong. But I said, what then is a rainbow currency? They said it's silver, platinum, and gold, any metal used for crypto. I said, how many digital currencies will be backed by gold? They said all new cryptocurrencies will need to be backed by gold to be licensed. I said, which cryptocurrencies can we trust? Because there's a lot of talk all the time about, you know, is Bitcoin going to go down? And should I buy this one? And should I do that one? And they've told me that you can trust. Now, just to cover myself, I'm not a financial advisor. Neither, I don't think Nick is either. So we're not advising you to run out and buy any particular crypto, but I'm just giving you the answers they've channeled to me. But they're saying, for the question, which cryptocurrencies can we trust? They're saying that you can trust any cryptocurrency which is backed by the central bank digital currency, the CBDC. And they're saying it's because it's backed by gold and it's licensed under the quantum system, which is what you and I have been talking about for some months, and we didn't realize this is the pieces now falling into place. I said, will Doge... Sorry? Go on.
I didn't want to disturb you, but I just wanted to say that the people are thinking, oh, Bitcoin's deep state. So, you know, Can
Yeah.
the white hats take that and make it into a good thing and back it by gold because of its technology and its functionality? Or is that something you believe they will just throw away and start fresh with the new currencies?
I don't know the answer to that because I'm not a financial expert and I don't really understand crypto. But I would say that if Elon Musk and Jack Dorsey have got those huge amounts of Bitcoin and they've been using them already in their business for good, you know, I mean, Tesla's for good and Block is for good. Twitter is essentially for good when it's not, you know, when it's with the right people, which it will be now. So I don't think that it's necessarily a bad thing if it's backed by gold and it's licensed properly. Again, as I always say to everybody, it's not the technologies that are the problem. It's not the cryptos that are the problem. It's always about who's controlling them. So if we go all the way back, it will be about how it's licensed, what it's backed by, and how it's moved around. And we know it's going to be moved around under the quantum system. We know we're going to have quantum computers and quantum phones. And so it will mean that we can't have trafficking and black money because everything will be stamped and traceable. So in terms of the criminal element of money, this would be a way to stop the criminal elements going forward. Then people would probably be worried about, well, you know, does that mean we're going to be controlled, you and me? We park on a double yellow line next week. Are we going to have our bank accounts stopped? But don't forget that if we go all the way back to our original videos, they're not allowed to operate the system to harm the people. It's got to be in to help the people and for freedom and peace. And if they start to use it in a controlling way, one, the system is programmed to shut itself down. And the rest, if you remember, all of the countries had to be signed in, and that they could essentially, everybody could police everybody else. So if, you know, one country wasn't abiding by the rules and they were using it against their people, the centralized system of Starlink, which is the entire connectivity, could shut them out of certain aspects. So that's how it will be controlled from being used in a bad way. So I said Dogecoin, which is a coin by again by Elon Musk. I said, will that be part of the central bank digital currencies? They said yes. And they actually told me it's already registered and backed by gold and assets. And I said, assets, what would that be? And they said, yes, it can be backed by gold or assets. And I said, what assets? And they said it could be silver or diamonds or precious metals. Then I asked, is the military involved with any of this cryptocurrency banking? They said no. So then I just wanted to give some examples that I've been seeing where I feel like Nesara Gesara is already in play. So the first thing is that in the UK, corporate business in London has announced that they're going to run only a 4-day week, but pay people for 5. So that's a new thing that I've heard just recently. Also in the UK, we have something called a personal independent payment, or PIP, which is for people essentially who have a disability. Now, in the past, this system has been very difficult for people to navigate. You have to keep applying for it sort of on a regular basis. You have to jump through hoops, and it's been very highly criticised, and you know, it's just a horrible system to be in. And now this particular payment of PIP, which in Australia is called Centrepoint, I understand that to be the same thing. I don't know if Centrepoint is a disability benefit or an unemployment benefit, but all of them are a benefit or help from the government. and they've all gone onto a permanent basis now. And also, in some cases, I understand the levels have increased and just will stay like that all the time. So those people that were disabled won't have to keep applying for the same thing every couple of years and not knowing if they're going to get the same amount back. It's just going to be set. So to me, it looks like they're introducing Nesara Gesara for the most vulnerable first, and they're saying, here's your basic income, and they're putting it on the universal credit system, I think, for those that aren't disabled. So I was driving along this week and I heard on the radio in the UK that everybody who needs help or top up from the government, because they're on, say, low income or they're unemployed or whatever their situation might be, they're a lone parent, is going to be moved onto the universal credit system by 2024. And this ties in with other timelines when we've been told around sort of 2024 would be when they'd have it all up and running for the UK. I can't talk about worldwide, but for the UK, that's very possible. Because again, if you go back to my videos about 2 years ago, I said that they were going to use the universal credit system to bring through this basic income for everybody. So I think they're starting with the disabled, then they're starting with the low income, and then eventually I think it will branch out so that everybody is on some sort of system. And as I said, I've seen that in the Australian, and I think they call it the centre point. So perhaps if you're in Australia, you could confirm that for us. Then I saw this, this was sent to me. They were talking about Belarus, Kazakhstan, I don't know if I can pronounce this, but I'll try. Kyrgyzstan, Russia, Tajikistan. I don't know how to say that word, I'm so sorry. But it's Tajikistan and Armenia. And along with China, they are creating a new global economic and financial system, which they were saying in this printout was due to be set up at the end of March 2022. And they said it would be established from a basket of currencies of the founding member states. So I'm not sure if this one is crypto or not. It doesn't say clearly whether it's crypto or it's current or it's just normal currency, but it's just another one that's being set up. So the reason I'm pointing that out is because there's another one here in the Ukraine. This one's called, this is an app, actually, it's called the DIA app. And on here they were saying that this is part of the Great Reset, because again, I think people don't understand what's happening. They don't understand that digital currency is actually going to be a white hat plan, not the New World Order. And they're saying here that the Ukraine has implemented this this application where you get universal basic income on your phone using the DIA app. And the DIA app is called, or the DIA portal, DIIA. So what they've explained to me is we've been kind of looking at that there's going to be a certain date and everything's going to go live and there's going to be an RV and everything's going to go all at the same time. And I don't think that's the case, because again, in that same video 2 years ago, I said that the world had to be at peace for Nesara Jasara, and that it would be introduced at different stages depending on where you were in the world. They've been bringing it in different layers. So like in the UK, you can see they're bringing it in for the disabled, and then they're bringing it in for lone parents, and and they're just bringing it in, say, in Wales, where it's probably the earnings of the people there might be lower than the rest of the country. So it's being brought in stages, but it is being brought in. So instead of it having this this date, this trigger date, it looks like it's already well going. It's already in action. Someone also sent me an email saying that the digital credit cards, which we talked about in an interview a couple ago, and we were a little bit confused about, people were going to the supermarket and I thought they were paying in digital currency and you weren't sure what it meant, and someone else has sent me an email and they're saying where people have cryptocurrencies tied to a Visa or a MasterCard like crypto.com, they are allowed to spend it, and that Australia has created a banking environment platform to allow this kind of spending for your cryptocurrencies through your credit card. So I think we've all been looking over here and all thinking, when's the RV coming? When's the Gesara coming? And it's all been going on over here. And we've been thinking that that's New World Order, and we've been shutting our mind to it. We don't want to know. And it looks like it's already in action. And it's not actually a dark hat operation. Now, the other thing I found, which I haven't had time to study in detail, was the executive order that, if everybody remembers, that came out on, I think it was, that funny noise is my dog snoring, if anyone can hear that. It's not actually me, it's my chihuahua. But on March the 9th, this executive order came out, which was signed by Biden. And the heading is the executive order on ensuring responsible development of digital assets. And it talks all about this framework for making sure that these cryptocurrencies are properly licensed, and I assume backed by gold. And I assume that each country will have something similar like this that they're working on, which is why we've been told repeatedly that we're waiting for everybody to sign in. Now, the other interesting thing in this document, and I didn't read every single word of it, but I saw something which said, if I can just find the page, that 120 days from the issue of this document, they had to do something. They had to do something within 120 days of that document coming out. Do you remember 120 days? It's been stated a lot as the beginning of this and that. And so I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that is the beginning of anything, but the date when I counted it out was the 7th of July 2022. That will be 120 days from when Biden signed this agreement. So what I need all of you to do, all you clever people that understand executive orders, that understand currencies, I need you to email me and give me the info. What does it all mean? What does this executive order mean? Because based on what I'm saying now, it would mean that Biden is working for the White Hats, which we kind of already assume that he is, that he's a puppet. But if he's signing this order, which links everything together with what you and I have been doing, Nick, for some months, and the fact that I've now channeled that these cryptocurrencies are white hat, it changes the landscape completely. I don't know if you have any questions at the moment, Nick. Why just look for my other questions?
I'm going to look. I'm just going to let you carry on because
okay.
And then I'm going to ask the questions at the end.
So another interesting thing I said was will the RV, if it's not already in action, which I think it probably is, but if there is going to be a big date and a handover day, I said I wanted to know, would this RV be digital currency only? And they said yes. So I said, so the RV will not be about physical cash or notes or coins. And they said no. The RV is relevant only in terms of cryptocurrency. So again, have we all been looking in the wrong direction? Because we've been saying dinar, dong, zim, that's all part of the, and is it actually not anything to do with that? So again, have we all been looking in the wrong direction? And if we have, it's been very clever because they've been able to insert all of this everywhere, and we've all not been aware. Well, I've not been aware. I shouldn't really be speaking for everybody. But to me, this was amazing news, actually, because now it started to make sense. So instead of us always thinking we've got two systems running along like this and we're waiting for the good one to get ahead, it's actually already been there the whole time, and we've just been looking at it the wrong way. Now, in the UK this year, very soon, I think it's June the 4th, the Queen is having her 70th year, which is the it's called, there's going to be a jubilee. I think it's the Golden Jubilee, which represents 70 years of being a monarch. And I wanted to know, is that going to be the start of something? They, this Nesara or Jasara? And they said no, because again, I think that it's already here. I think it's already been going on, and we've just been looking in the wrong direction. Just need to put a wire in my computer before the power runs out. Excuse me, everybody. Just going to pop that in there. I don't want to lose you in the middle of our recording. I said, is there going to be a new constitution? Don't even know if that's the right word, but it's the only word I could think of. Is there going to be a new constitution or framework that's going to be assigned for the new digital currencies? And of course, it could be this sort of, this executive order was obviously the start of that. And they said, yes, there will be a new framework. I don't know if constitution is the right word, but there will be a new legal framework, and it will be tracked by the new quantum internet bracket Starlink. Don't forget, Starlink is not just the hub in your home. Starlink is the entire concept. So then I said, just to be clear, is there a white hat and a black hat financial system currently in play? And they said no. The whole system is now overseen and managed by the white hats. And I said to them, when you speak to me about Starlink, are you using it as a blanket term for quantum connectivity? They said yes. I said, can you just explain that for the people? And they said Starlink has been used as an umbrella term to encompass connectivity between all modes of quantum tech, including phones, internet, laptops and servers, and space tech. I said, what will the new digital financial system look like? Will you get tokens? They said no. So will you get coins? They said yes. So will you get notes? They said no. I said, will you get a digital wallet? They said yes. I said, is the system already rolling out? And they said yes. And that's really all I've got on the central bank.
Okay.
I hope I explained that well, because this is not my area again of expertise, like when we did the Ukraine. So I have to ask it in very simple terms.
Okay. Do you have more?
Well, I do have a few little things. Do you want me to just carry on? Got a few things.
We're running out of time.
Okay.
If but how much?
I have got quite a lot. So do you want me to carry on or not?
Go on.
It's quite exciting, this one, so I think we should go on with it, right? I asked if things like the Lobster app, which you told me about, and Dia, which we just talked about, and all those other ones, are they going to be compatible with this CBDC system? And they said that not all these apps will be necessary because each central bank of each country or region will operate its own digital currency framework for its citizens. So it depends which one your central bank is going to run. So like Dia was the Ukrainian one. I don't know if we have a name for the UK one. I don't know if Lobster is it. But it doesn't mean necessarily that if we've got Lobster or Dia or whatever, that everyone's going to have that. It's going to depend on your central bank, what they use, what portal they use. And I said, are we going to need these Quantum or Pi phones, you know, this equipment, in order to use this CBDC? And they said yes, that only Quantum equipment can ensure the safety, protection, and the security for the end user. So that's the delay. The delay is not the system being up and running. The delay is that we don't have the equipment yet, which I've said before. They've also said that some of the delay is because of that regulation that we were talking about earlier. We have to get all the countries lined up. And if you remember, they said we had 75% lined up. And I feel like the Middle East are the ones that aren't signing in. So it could be them that's not, I'm not saying that they're delaying it for everybody else, but there could be some delay around something to do with the Middle East. I'm not saying that they're doing it deliberately or anything like that. I don't know, but I just keep getting there's something with the Middle East. Then I said, who's like making these quantum technologies? You and I both know because we've talked about some of those companies, but they said there are many companies worldwide that are now working on that quantum equipment. And I just said, can you explain the process of a central bank digital currency? What happens? They just said they issue you with a crypto digital currency for everything for your day-to-day living. It's just as basic as that. And for your savings. And I said, how is this central bank a white hat operation? What defines it as such? How are you defining it as that? Just to check. They said, because it, like you said, Nick, it's backed by gold and it's regulated on the new quantum system. And I said, how could this new CBDC currency, how could it mitigate the risks of, say, using it for illicit activities? And they said, again, if necessary, it can be tracked. So if they thought you were using it for bad things, they would know by, I suppose each coin must have some sort of imprint on it that they can track. They said to me that by 120 days, a solid framework needs to be signed from that order. And that's got something to do with this Nesara Gesara as well. So I'm hoping that somebody's going to know a lot about that order and get back to me on that.
Okay.
And I think probably a lot of this is just repeating what we already know. So I think we could probably stop now.
Okay, great. So with the Nick Fleming, I mean, I was going to say with the Nick Fleming, you never mentioned him, but I was listening to something that he was saying.
Okay.
Nick Fleming is someone who talks about the cryptocurrencies and the RV, and he was saying that we are going to be using a Lobster account, which is a wallet, a crypto wallet. And when the RV happens, we will be everyone will be safe when they walk out of the bank because everything will be digital currency into their Lobster wallets. And he advised that we should start signing up for the Lobster wallets, but like you said, there could be other crypto wallets as well as the Lobster wallet. So that was very interesting. You also mentioned about Biden as well, where he signed that executive order about the central bank system and digital currency. And we know that it's not the same Biden as before. It's a different Biden. So, and he's playing up very differently to the real Biden. So maybe he could be a white hat. I don't know. I don't support that, but who knows? He could be. Very interesting. I want to go back to McAfee. When you mentioned him, you said that he would step in role or something like that. I mean, people believe he's dead. Does that mean
Yeah.
that he will reveal himself to be alive?
Well, people believe that Julian Assange is sitting in prison in London, but he's not. So, people assume a lot of things because this is all part of the story. And it's just to remove people out of the way so they can get on and get things done. Like they did with Jack Dorsey, they removed him away from Twitter so he could actually get on and do what we think he's going to be doing now, which is some involvement in this, I think, this crypto world and helping Elon Musk get that new social network up and running.
Right. So, the other question I had is, what is the point of the twist and the storyline? Why can't they just tell us? Why is there constant a storyline? What for?
That I don't know because I don't really understand the financial side, so I couldn't really comment on why they needed to do it that way. Perhaps they haven't been trying to hide anything from us. Perhaps we've just all been running with the wrong, not me personally, because I've never really been interested in the crypto side, but perhaps the people that have been spreading the information in good faith, about crypto, perhaps they actually thought that was the truth or the picture at that moment, and maybe they've just not put the pieces together yet. So I'm not saying that
Okay.
anyone's been lying or misleading anybody, because if this is all true, it would appear that it's all been running all of the time, and people have been calling it the bad system, the New World Order system, but actually what they're telling us now is it's actually always been the system for the good.
No, but what I mean is that with Jack Dorsey, censoring Trump as a storyline to get
Oh,
him
right.
out of there and so that he could work for the White Hats. I mean, why that storyline, do you think? But maybe that's something you could channel later, another time. You
Well,
could
I
ask
think
him why.
yeah, no, I think that, as I was saying before, they took him out deliberately. That was deliberate so that they could capture the board later through Elon Musk. And while they were doing that, they were working together, Musk and Dorsey, all this time on what they're going to do, which is what they're doing now. They're teaming up now. He's bought Twitter, and they're teaming up now to do whatever they're going to do next on the new social platform realm.
Could you also confirm if Starlink is encrypted?
Yes, because it's quantum.
Okay.
But sorry, go on.
No, please. I was going to ask you another question.
I just have one thing here which is quite important. I asked them, is this not going to be open to control like the CCP? Because I know this is going to be on everybody's mind. And they said no, because the activity will be regulated at the central point, and it will have been set up for good, and it will have been set up for good. And if any country does not adhere to peace and is at war, and it's not doing the freedom of the citizens, then it won't be allowed to go ahead. It will just stop. It said, first and foremost, the quantum system must operate in a conflict-free zone, so there must be no war, and they've got to be at peace not only as a country but also with their citizens. So they haven't got to be at peace just with other countries but with their people. And we've said this several times before, and again I'll just reiterate that they're saying that the quantum system is programmed with backstops and safety measures to prevent freedoms being curtailed. So they've repeated this to us a number of times in the same way. I think they're getting a headache telling us the same thing over and over, because I don't think we've been hearing them.
So when you say the UK is doing these benefits and the PIP, the PIP payments to
Yeah,
disabled people, and they're rolling it out for them first.
yeah.
Is that what you meant before about the UK being the green light?
I don't know because other countries are doing it as well, aren't they? We've heard Australia is doing it. Whether the
Okay.
UK got in first with that proposal, I don't know. I didn't actually see the timeline between the two. My feeling, though, is that the green light was more to do with the military action that happened in those two countries that I don't know if we can name at the moment, but the conflict that is going on. I feel that the green light was more to do with the next stage of the military plan, and this is not really about the military plan because they said the military are not involved in this aspect of it. So this is another layer of what's going on worldwide, and it's not controlled by military strategy as such.
Is that the reason why you believe, or you channeled, that the military are not involved with crypto?
I didn't really have a reason other than I just wanted to be clear who's running what, because they often give me military information, and it seems now they're wanting me to be clear about the financial side as well. So I'm getting a very well-rounded team of people around me, it seems, that are giving me information when they think it's the right time to release it.
Okay. Well, Michelle, it's been an absolute honor to have you. Thank you so much. And if the viewers are wondering that you want to know more about Trump and that side of it all, me and Michelle have agreed that we will be doing another video specifically for Trump coming soon. And Michelle, thanks again. Is there anything else that you'd like to say to the viewers before we finish?
Well, it's really just to say that I'm not a financial expert. I don't understand crypto really. And if any of you out there have more expertise in particularly that executive order and what that 120 days might mean, or anything around what we said today, if they can email in their expert sort of opinions and perspectives, that helps us to put more questions together and get down more information. So thank you to everyone that always kindly sends me updates.
Absolutely. Well, Michelle Fielding, thank you so much. And I look forward to doing another one on Trump, hopefully soon in the next couple of weeks. And we'll speak soon. Thank you and God bless. Bye bye.
Thanks, Nicholas.